A new Rise to War patch just came out, and they have basically completely overhauled the Fellowship and Warband system, at least some of the mechanics involved in there. So in this video, I want to tell you everything that we have figured out so far. Let's get into it. Alright, so first of all, statues and shrines are both now Fellowship controlled, and Fellowships are allowed to build new structures on top of these items. For these shrines, you can turn them into wells, which will allow Fellowship members to gather from them. We'll talk about that in a minute. And the shrines you can turn into altars, which will allow Fellowship members to mock battle / mind sharpen. I'm just going to still call it mock battling. I think this is also in part due to an overall overhaul of mock battling, where you're going to receive a lot less bonus experience from your ring for mind sharpens / mock battles, and instead you're going to be able to earn EXP scrolls, which I think is going to be fantastic. I'll make a video about why that is once I'm actually in a season with them, as long as I remember. I should probably write that down so I don't forget. But anyway, let's talk about the exact mind sharpening situation here. One super nice thing is you don't have to have fort range or anything on the altar. It's the shrine that is upgraded. You don't have to have fort range on it. You're allowed to send any army there regardless of range, and you will be getting 30,000 base EXP from mind sharpening there. That is actually the equivalent of a mind sharpen on a 200 power tile. So this could be very, very useful in the early game if your Fellowship has an altar built and you do not have a 200 plus tile of your own yet. This was the wrong button. I did not mean to click that. However, this is worse than mocking on higher power tiles. For example, if we were going to mind sharpen on a 260, we're going to get more EXP from that. And of course, ultimately, as always, you want to beat mind sharpening on a 300 power tile because it is quite a lot more EXP than even on one of the altars. So the overall verdict is, in the early game, if you don't have access to a big tile yet, your Fellowship can build an altar. You can send your commander to mind sharpen there from anywhere on the map. Granted, there is going to be travel time involved, but that way you don't have to worry about having your own 200 power tile. Your Fellowship can basically provide that for you, which is pretty cool. Now, the new well gathering feature is a little bit more complicated than the altars are for mind sharpening. So let's just look at some examples that we have set up for science. So if we come over to this one that we built, and the same principle applies here, Fellowship members can travel from anywhere on the map in order to gather from these, but there is going to be travel time involved. This is going to be exactly the same amount of resources as gathering on a 200 power tile in this case. However, it is broken up based on the distribution of tiles that is in the wells area of effect, which includes all adjacent tiles. So if we look at all these adjacent tiles, we have a whole bunch of wood, and then we have a couple of ore tiles. This is still 16,000 total resources, which is the same as gathering on a 200 power tile in terms of the raw production. However, those resources are split up across whatever tiles happen to be adjacent to that well. The advantage of this is that during the early and mid portions of seasons, you tend to need a little bit of everything rather than a whole lot of one thing, except for like day 1 and 2 when you're always permanently out of stone no matter how many stone tiles you take. So I do think that if a Fellowship is able to capture one of these in a good location, and I'll show you a good location right now that we have figured out so far, that it will be more advantageous than simply gathering on your own 200 power tile. And keep in mind that you don't need your own 200 power tile to gather on if your Fellowship can take one of these and build the structure on it soon enough. Let me just make sure that I am in fact at the right one. does look to be the case. This one, since it has 2 large tiles bordering it, at least I assume that that is the reason, this guy will actually give 18,000 total resources per time that you gather, which is slightly better, assuming you need all of the different resources. It is slightly better than gathering on your own 200 power tile. I sort of have a guess. This is probably the first stage in some type of total overhaul to monk battling and gathering, where they want to make being part of a fellowship that actually does things like upgrade their statues, upgrade their shrines, and that sort of thing. I think they want that to be an overall more important aspect of the game. Now, the other thing that they have done, and I think part of this, actually a few parts of this are excellent, is that you are no longer providing your entire fellowship with boosts by taking 200 power tiles. This is actually a huge buff to non-whale fellowships because in a lot of these whale fellowships, people are farming 200 power tiles within the first 24 hours of the game. Maybe farming isn't the right word. They're able to take 200 power tiles within the first 24-hour buffs, but then even by like day 2, day 3, they are just straight up farming them, handing them out to everybody in the fellowship, and the resource boost that those teams can get can be quite considerable over teams that aren't taking 200s that early on. Now your resource bonuses, among other things, are tied to this fellowship tech tree that unlocks as you level up your fellowship. The first awesome change that I noticed is that by fellowship level 5, you are getting plus 80 max fellowship members, which means you no longer have to wait until a fellowship levels up to a higher level in order to get everybody in. The store is now unlocking at level 7. They've overhauled the store as well. Fortresses unlock a little bit more quickly as well, which is huge, with the last fortress slot coming at level 45. Level 50 was quite hard to get for fellowships unless you're in a highly competitive season. At least in my experience, it has been very, very difficult to get. But resource boosts now come from the abundance skill on this tech tree, as well as these other sub skills like lumbering, sewing, quarrying, and iron making. So now the bonuses that fellowships get are going to be totally static, based on their tech level, not based on when people take 200 power tiles and how many of them they take. Overall, I think that this is a very welcome change. The one thing I'm worried about is there's now a donation attempts mechanic where I think you're supposed to donate gold in order to like activate these things after they've been unlocked. I don't yet know how much gold it costs because when this was implemented, we were already somewhere between level 40 and 45, meaning they just activated everything for us once we hit level 45. I'm interested to see how much gold this is actually going to take. Hopefully it is not an absurd amount. Hopefully it's reasonable. I'm hoping that it's not just another way to try to encourage players to spend money in order to get gear, in order to sell that gear for gold so that they can donate gold to their fellowships. Hopefully, if you are diligent with your boss weekends and don't waste gold on building 150 forts all over the map, you will be able to contribute to these technologies without really feeling the strain too much. And finally, they have overhauled the Fellowship store. It appears to no longer be a random offering, which I think is fantastic. Do note that the refresh time has increased. It is no longer a daily refresh. This seems to be a 3-day refresh. However, I'm not 100% positive on that yet because the timer hasn't reset yet. This patch just came out as I'm recording this video. However, you are now offered a number of times that you can buy certain things. The first thing that caught my eye is that there is now going to be a guaranteed or seemingly guaranteed relocation token available every certain number of days, which is an excellent change because it was really hurting free-to-play players and low spenders when they would get a bad run of RNG and they would just never be offered a relocation token. And there was also this weird dynamic that I found myself falling into where I didn't want to spend below 500 contribution points in case a relocation token popped up. And I was like, man, I'm going to have to buy that thing because I don't know when I'm going to see another one. So I would stockpile them every single time it showed up, which in the long run, I would waste a lot of contribution because I'd end seasons with 3 or 4 extra relocations. But I just felt that pressure, like I have to buy it because it's here. Anyways, you can also buy 5-minute apothecary things, 10 of them, at 20 coins per. This is actually slightly worse in some cases. If you got super lucky and you had the one show up constantly, the previous one before this patch, I think it was 30 minutes or an hour, one of the two. This is going to be 50 total minutes of apothecary boost, but you're guaranteed to get it every single time it resets, and you only have to spend 200 contribution. And taking shrines and statues actually gives everybody in your fellowship contribution now in addition to the gold. So I think it's going to be super important to be taking those so that everybody's power increases, especially since statues are now fellowship owned. And that way everybody can constantly be buying resource boosts, be buying apothecary boosts, be buying recall boosts. I just feel like the overall availability of the nice little extra goodies that you want to have in your back pocket has gone up, and I like that they have taken the randomness aspect out of it. Hopefully it's not random. It seems to be not random. I guess we'll see when this actually refreshes. Hopefully I don't have to come back and put little text up here or something that said, man, Phoenix is really dumb when he recorded this video and was just totally wrong. Doesn't seem to be random, seems to be set, and I really like that aspect of it. Overall, I am pretty excited with this overhaul of the Fellowship. There's also one last thing that is super confusing. There's this Fortification Plan thing now, and somehow I accidentally clicked on the chests. So yeah, Fortification Plan, I don't know what it does yet. I think this was accidentally implemented, or there's a bug with it. Either way, there's no information about it, but it's there, and apparently it's coming, so that'll be kind of cool to see what that is. Hopefully they continue working more and more on the Fellowship and Warband system, and hopefully it'll feel more important to be part of a good active team that has good leadership, that knows what they're doing, that can get people's statues to level on early on, get people's shrines to gather on early on, and things like that. I will say the final little note here, I think it's awkward that statues are for mocking and shrines are for gathering, because you don't even unlock the mock battle feature until ring level 30. And by that time, most players are going to be able to take their own 200 power tile or even 230 power tile. And so I feel like it's just going to come too late, unless they move Mine Sharpener on the tree, maybe they switch it out with something else. The point being, I think by the time people are even allowed to Mine Sharpen, they're not going to need a statue to Mine Sharpen on. And so I think it'd be kind of cool to flip those, or flip how hard each of those tiles are, so it can make the shrines easier, as easy as statues are currently, make statues as hard as shrines are currently. That way, early game, you'll want to be focusing on taking the shrines in order to let your fellowship gather, and then later on taking the statues. I also really wish there was a way to upgrade the altar more times so that eventually it's the equivalent of mocking on a 300. Anyways, bit off topic here at the end. Maybe I should make a suggestions video about that. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you for watching.